Welcome to the Business Wisdom Podcast. Hello, I'm Clive Eniver, business strategist. I help you discover the clarity needed to better identify, engage more effectively, and convert more of your ideal clients. For over 3 decades, I've been working alongside business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs, diving into the engine room of their operations to figure out what makes a business not just survive, but truly thrive. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that forms the absolute bedrock of a sustainable business growth. We're talking about resilience, but we aren't going to talk about it in the fluffy, faux motivational sense that so often turns up on social media. We're going to look at it as a hard, measurable metric.
Welcome to the Business Wisdom Podcast, where business strategist Clive Eniver shares his inner business wisdom with you. Each episode is packed with his experience to help you grow and develop your own business wisdom. Join Clive as he shares his wisdom with you.
If you've been in business for any length of time, you already know that things are always bubbling, never truly settled down. There's always a new challenge, a changing market, a lost contract, or some unexpected operational hiccup. Many business owners convince themselves that they are just waiting for things to settle down before I make the next big move. But waiting for a clear run to grow your business means you will be waiting forever. Over the decades I've spent mentoring and coaching, I've noticed a recurring pattern. You can have 2 business owners with the same strategy, facing the exact same market conditions, armed with the same quality of staff, yet one scales comfortably while the other constantly struggles. The difference between them isn't luck, and it isn't raw intelligence. It's resilience. But more specifically, it's about maintaining your professional standards and strategic focus when things are going wrong. Let's start by redefining what resilience is in a business context. If you want a business that lasts, you will ideally stop treating resilience like a personality trait and start treating it like a core operational requirement. Far too often, resilience is assumed to be a reserve tank we only tap into during a massive crisis, a global recession, a pandemic, a major issue. But that assumption is a mistake. Resilience is required for the daily grind of leadership. It's about not letting a problem with a job at 10 o'clock ruin your leadership team meeting at 2 o'clock. If your mood dictates your activity, your revenue will always be erratic. Think about sales. In sales, a lack of resilience almost always leads to discounting. When a prospect pushes back or when you can't handle the tension of a potential no, what do? You drop your price just to get a yes and validate your being there. Fast forward a year and you end up with a business full of low-margin, high-maintenance clients who drain your energy and your profits. Eventually, of course, this practice continued sees you out of business entirely. Resilience is really about emotional neutrality. You cannot afford to be incredibly up when you win and devastatingly down when you lose. The highs are great and the lows are natural, but as a leader, you must operate from a baseline of stability. The question then becomes, if resilience isn't just a mindset or a personality trait, how do we build it? And just as importantly, or perhaps more importantly, how do we measure it? That brings us to the first pillar of our measurement, results. Now, whenever we talk about results, generally people immediately point to revenue, profit margins, and sales targets. But let's clarify something vital. While results are the ultimate goal, they are not directly controllable. You cannot force a client to sign a contract. You cannot magically conjure cash into your bank account. What is controllable is the activity that leads to the results. By consistently executing the right activities, you increase the likelihood of achieving your desired outcomes. Therefore, achieving predictable results means measuring your commitment to focused activity despite facing resistance. Let me give you a practical tool for this. Most people track their sales. They track the yes. But human brains are hardwired to prioritise threats over rewards, meaning we remember the rejection far more vividly than the wins. This leads to thinking negatively about the role. Instead of exclusively tracking sales, identify the real KPIs and track them. This means goals shift to activity which results in positive outcomes. When you're performing the activity, you are understanding what activity delivers what result and building emotional neutrality by desensitizing yourself to rejection. Another powerful metric for measuring resilience is what we can call the recovery time metric. This is measuring exactly how long it takes you to return to effective work after a setback. Be honest with yourself right now. When you deliver a major pitch which is rejected or a key staff member quits, how long does it take for you to get your head back in the game? Does it ruin your week? Does it take you 2 days to recover? If you implement the right systems and you reduce that recovery time from 2 days to 20 minutes, you're winning. That is measurable resilience. It also comes down to combating priority overload. As business leaders, there's always something to do. One more email, one more meeting, one more project to manage. You can spend an entire week in constant motion, ticking boxes and working what seems incredibly hard, only to reach Friday afternoon feeling like nothing important really happened. Busyness can feel highly satisfying in the moment, but effectiveness shows itself in results. When leaders feel overwhelmed, it's most often not because they're doing too little, it's because they're doing too much of the wrong thing. Resilient leaders use a decision filter. Before committing to any new task, they ask, does this create genuine impact? Does it fit my mission? Does it fit within the plan I've already committed to? By filtering out the noise, you ensure your activity drives tangible results, keeping your momentum strong even when external pressures mount. We've discussed results and activity. Now let's turn to the second and perhaps more telling measurement of business resilience: retention. There is a very particular kind of rush that comes with landing a brand new client. It's like that new car smell. It's exciting, it's fresh, and it feels like it's full of endless potential. We love the thrill of the win from hunting. But if you are constantly hunting for new business while your existing clients are quietly slipping out the back door, you aren't building a business. You're running a treadmill. Retention is the ultimate stress test of your company's resilience. When a crisis hits, or when the market tightens, acquiring new customers remains expensive and often becomes more difficult. If your business model relies solely on constant acquisition to survive, you are highly fragile. A resilient business, on the other hand, is anchored by a loyal base of retained clients. How do we secure retention? It comes down to clarity. Offer clarity is the single greatest predictor of retention and repeat sales. Yet it's the one thing often overlooked in favour of flashy lead generation. Think of your business as a bucket. If you have a bucket with holes in the bottom, pouring more leads into the top won't solve your problem. You must fix the leaks first. Clarity isn't just a marketing buzzword. It's what makes your metrics accurate. It dictates the lifetime value of your customers. When you know exactly who you serve and the specific problem you solve for them and how to express that, uncertainty disappears. This clarity accelerates momentum, enabling confidence in pricing and seamless service delivery. It allows you to set accurate, achievable expectations. When a client knows exactly what they are paying for and you consistently deliver it, they don't leave. They stay. They buy again. And they refer others to you, without the need for expensive programs trying to turn them into ambassadors. This leads us to one of the most critical numbers in your entire business, client lifetime value, or CLV. That's the total worth of a customer over your entire relationship. Focusing your strategy on client lifetime value forces a paradigm shift. It moves you away from a mindset of transactional sales and forces you to step into the role of a long-term partner for your clients. It's the single most important number for predictable revenue and, ultimately, your personal business freedom. If your retention rates are high, your business is resilient, period. High retention means you have a buffer against market shocks. It means your cash flow forecasting is more reliable and accurate, preventing nasty financial surprises. I see far too many business owners treating their bank balance like a weather vane. If there's money in the account today, it's sunny. If there isn't, they're scrambling for an umbrella. Financial forecasting backed by strong client retention isn't about having a crystal ball. It's about building a map so you aren't shocked when a sharp corner comes up. And let's not forget team retention. Just as client clarity retains business, that same clarity spread across your operation retains good staff. When your team understands the mission and the vision, knows the systems, and feels aligned with your goals, they don't jump ship at the first sign of turbulence. When everyone pulls in the same direction, execution is smoother, decisions stick, and your right people stay. We know what resilience is, and we know we can measure it through our recovery time metric, our client lifetime value, and our retention rates. But how can this be institutionalized within the business? How do we make sure resilience isn't solely dependent on the business owner having a good day? The answer is systemization. Building resilience is a process of desensitization and systemization. To scale a business safely, we absolutely need to shift the weight of the business from you and your people to your processes. Many business owners suffer from what's often called founder dependency. It is the quiet bottleneck. Being needed for every single decision is not a sign of your dedication. It is an indicator that your business structure hasn't grown alongside the business activity. If you are spending your days fixing daily problems instead of practicing strategic leadership, your systems are holding you to your now and preventing you from reaching your next. To move forward, you must move the knowledge out of your head and into your systems. Let's go back to handling setbacks. Create a standard operating procedure for when things go wrong. For instance, if you run a boutique agency and a client aggressively questions a monthly report, what usually happens? You might spend 3 hours venting to your partner or stressing over your laptop. Instead, you need a standard operating procedure for client feedback that dictates the exact next steps immediately. A process takes the immediate emotional response out of the event. Resilience grows when the path forward is so clear that your personal feelings in the moment become irrelevant. Another great system for leadership resilience is the 24-hour rule. Resilience in leadership requires a gap between the trigger and your response. Reacting in the heat of the moment is rarely strategic. It's usually just an emotional release. So for any internal conflict or staff mistake that isn't a literal building is on fire emergency, mandate a 24-hour waiting period before addressing it. If a staff member makes an error that costs you money, don't address it while you're seeing red. Schedule the meeting for the following morning. This protects your authority and ensures the conversation revolves around why the process failed rather than becoming a vent for your personal frustration. When you build systems like these, you handle business risk proactively. Business risk encompasses anything that could disrupt your operations or hinder growth. Preparation is the key to navigating this landscape. By forecasting risks and building systems to address them, you don't just overcome challenges, you position your business for long-term success. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to challenge you to look at your current strategic plan. A lot of business planning fails quietly. Plans are often built on sheer enthusiasm, full of ambition but lacking structure, and they usually end up sitting in a folder, completely ignored, even forgotten. If your plan is too detailed to guide proper decisions or too vague to measure concrete results, it gets replaced by reaction the moment an urgent issue arrives, and living in a state of constant reaction destroys resilience. You don't need to start over from scratch. When growth slows, it is incredibly tempting to want a clean slate, a new brand, a new offer, a completely new plan. But starting over often leads to lost momentum and the unnecessary abandonment of valuable assets. What you need is a planning reset. A planning reset is simply about refining what already exists. Take an hour this week to look at your business and ask yourself 3 practical questions. What worked last quarter and why? What absorbed time without delivering results? And what should we stop doing entirely? Remember, a strong plan outlines your mission, your vision, and how success will be measured. It amplifies your focus, which in turn simplifies your decision making. True planning isn't about perfectly predicting the future. It's about preparing yourself to make decisions with confidence. Resilience is not just a gritty personality trait. It is a core operational requirement that you systemize into your business. You measure it not just by your bottom line, but by tracking your activity, including your recovery time metric. And you prove your resilience through retention, because retaining clients through offer clarity to increase client lifetime value is far more profitable and stable than constantly running the acquisition treadmill. Start treating your systems, your clarity, and your focused activity as your armor. Define where you are heading, focus on delivering the activity that actually drives results, and measure that activity honestly. Because at the end of the day, clarity creates consistency. Consistency builds confidence, and confidence for any leader is the ultimate foundation of sustainable, resilient success. I'm Clive Enever, and thank you for being part of the Business Wisdom podcast. If you want to dive deeper into these concepts, access tools to help you plan and perform, join the Business Wisdom Vault. Or if you simply want to read more of my insights, visit my website at enevergroup.com.au. If you're ready to step out of the daily grind and into true strategic leadership, let's connect. Until next time, protect your priorities, value your time, and keep building a business that serves you.
Thanks for joining Clive. Remember to subscribe for more business wisdom. Want to work with Clive? Book a discovery call with him at enevergroup.com.au.